Good evening, everyone. My name is Brendan Frey. I'm a professor, an entrepreneur, a scientist, and an engineer. Tonight, wonderful talks, by the way, preceding me. And we've heard a lot of condemnation of human intelligence and also uplifting stories about the promise of new technology. And what I'm going to talk about is my belief that artificial intelligence is going to unlock a new universe of medicine in the future, and it will be a game changer. So first of all, a couple minutes on artificial intelligence. What is it? So the most common one that people probably know about is voice recognition on their cell phone. You speak into your cell phone, and the cell phone recognizes the words, right? That's an example of artificial intelligence. What many of you may not know is that the recent breakthroughs in artificial intelligence were made possible by a field of artificial intelligence called deep learning, and that was pioneered in Canada. And so Rohit earlier talked about Google and Facebook, and the fact is that the lead scientists, the top scientists at those places are actually from Canada. People like Jeff Hinton and Jan LeCun, who studied here in Canada. Other people like Yoshua Bengio. And I myself worked on this field of deep learning in the 1990s. So that's something that we should celebrate, is that this new area of artificial intelligence is largely due to Canadian innovation. Now, we already know that AI makes a big impact on ourselves through our cell phones, but it will change all aspects of society, from farming all the way through to medicine and many other areas as well. This is recognized at various levels. Justin Trudeau has been talking a lot about artificial intelligence in the last few months. I met with him a couple of years ago to talk about the importance of AI in Canada. Eric Schmidt, the chair of Alphabet, of Google, met with the Prime Minister a couple of weeks ago for a public discussion on the topic. There have been a lot of discussions about AI in Canada, so keep your eye on it. Now, let's talk about medicine. Medicine is broken. I think we all know that. We've heard today about these wonderful technologies that have been innovated and developed in the last 20 years, from MRIs to genome sequencing to even more recently gene editing, the ability to change your DNA, change the code that governs your cells and governs your health. However, I think most people would agree that the health benefits have fallen way below our expectations. We've heard a couple of people talk about that tonight. So what's going on? Let's look at one example, genome sequencing. Genome sequencing will soon cost less than a trip to the grocery store. So we'll be able to read all 3 billion letters of your DNA, the A, C, G's, and T's, just 3 billion letters that make up your DNA. But what can we do about it? Can we accurately detect disease? Can we develop treatments for disease? And the fact is, the tragic truth is that there's a giant gap between our ability to measure your DNA and our ability to act on it. I refer to that as the genotype-phenotype gap. So what's going on? What's broken? Think about medicine. Think about your personal experiences with medicine. Maybe it's going to your family doctor. You'd go to your family doctor. You'd say, I have these symptoms. Your doctor might say, well, it could be this, it could be this. Let's do a couple tests. Okay, and then you go off, and a couple months later, you've got the tests done. We're moving into a completely different era of medicine, one that's data-rich and information-rich. Each of you already has a lot of information about yourself, whether it's from your Fitbit, or perhaps from a genetic test, or perhaps you've submitted a sample to 23andMe, or maybe had your genome sequenced. So you'll have a rich source of information about yourself, and also society has a lot of information which helps us understand what's going on. And so it's an information-rich and a data-rich situation, a situation which this old try-and-see approach to medicine is really ill-suited to dealing with. So what's the solution? Well, the only technology we have that's capable of scanning through huge amounts of data and finding patterns that can be used to make accurate predictions is artificial intelligence. And that's what leads us to the thesis of my talk. And really, this transition I talked about in medicine is reflective of something completely new in history, really, that our ability to measure our biology and change our biology, alter it, think about DNA editing, has far surpassed our ability to understand it. No biologist or no group of researchers will ever understand the complexity of biology that's needed to identify a mutation and find a therapy that's highly effective for an individual. So really, when it comes down to it, it's not possible, really, to imagine a future in which AI does not play a crucial role in medicine. So let's come back to, Kona talked about genetic testing. So in my group at the University of Toronto, and more recently in our spin-out company, Deep Genomics, we developed AI technologies that can allow us to look at one of your mutations and make a prediction for whether it's a pathological mutation. When we compare our computer system to the very best human pathologists, our computer system agrees 95% of the time. What's interesting is if you compare two human pathologists from two different clinical labs, which you may have submitted your sample to, they agree between 50% and 75% of the time. Now, I think, and based on what I've heard tonight, I think what we need to do is focus on coming up with not just ways of detecting disease, but treating disease that are highly effective. So no more of these treatments that are wishy-washy, just a little bit better than random chance, or highly inconclusive. We need treatments that really work, 100 times better than these sort of wishy-washy stuff that's out there, the snake oil. And so that's what I'm focusing on now. That's what my company, Deep Genomics, is focusing on, is using our artificial intelligence technology to find treatments for disease. So over the next 2 years, we'll be using our AI systems to scan a vast space of about 69 billion molecules and identify within that space about 1,000 molecules that allow us to carefully adjust cellular chemistry so as to develop new therapies. And I'm going to finish my presentation by making a speculation about the future. We will get better at manipulating our DNA to achieve desired outcomes. That's going to happen. So where will this lead? And I do believe it will actually lead to, and what we will witness in our lifetimes, is the emergence of humans with extraordinary capabilities that they've designed into themselves or their children. Thank you.